Hey guys, welcome back. In this episode, we are going to talk about Constitution file. But before we jump into Constitution itself, let me quickly explain a little bit about how GitHub Spec actually works under the hood. GitHub Spec is a combination of your agents folder, prompts folder, and a specified directory. Under the agents, you will see a collection of agents. An idea is that depending on what phase it is, whether it's a specification or planning, it utilizes its dedicated agents. So a specified agents is having a defined role. So what it does that when it goes for the specification, it utilizes that particular dedicated agents. For the planning phase, it utilizes that particular planning agents. Similarly, the prompts is like collection of all the responsibility which does underneath whenever you try to use that slash commands or prompts. You go and you use specify, so it goes and it utilizes that prompts. Now under specify, you have got memory folder under which is a constitution work as a memory, and then you have got the scripts. So for example, when you go for the specification, for each these steps, it utilizes that PowerShell scripts, the bash scripts, depending on what your setup is. For example, when you go for a specification, it creates a feature branch and utilizes that scripts. Now the templates, it has got a bunch of templates for all the phases. For example, specification, planning, constitution, and all it does that when you go for the specification as an example, depending on what requirement you are going to give it to us, it goes and fills out that particular template. So that is how the GitHub Spec Kit under the hood works. Now we do understand how it works. Now let's move into the constitution, the concept. So behind the scene, the idea behind the constitution is that you do not want AI to simply guess and just do produce any garbage code, right? You want AI to produce within the limits, within the criteria of your project. It should produce the code. So the high level, it defines the principles which you want AI to follow it. So let's try to give an example and let's try to create a constitution. So we are going to ask it to follow a .NET Minimal API standard, and let's say that it should follow the solid principles whenever it is going to write any code. And we also want, let's say, 100% uh, test coverage. Whenever it writes any code, it makes sure that uh, it's complete. It follows the test coverage concepts as well. Minimally, let's go with 85%. Now, these are our high level guidelines. In other words, we are actually setting up a rule book for AI to follow it. And the reason it's called memory, because any code it is going to produce, any planning it is going to do, any the task preparation, implementation when AI is going to do, it will make sure that it will go and it will follow the constitution, and within the defined guidelines which we specify under the constitution, uh, it will it will try to create that code. Within that, it will make sure that it follows this principle and it doesn't goes beyond of this. Now if you guys see right hand side, what actually it did, that it actually the read your template, your scripts, your task template, everything it read, and depending on what constitution we provided it, now it is going to try and fill that template. Now we, if you notice, we just simply put it few words as well, so it is not just going to put that words only, it is going to enhance it. And depending on the priority, right, we started with a minimal API, and if you see here, the our top priority is that minimal API, then solid principles, then test coverage. And since we provided test coverage, it also included few other things as well, for example integration testing, observability, and few other things as well. So that is what the constitution is. You do not have to change this constitution file again and again. Very, I mean, on occasionally, I mean, you will need to change, because this is per project. You have to set up just one time, and then once you are done, until unless there is change in the architecture, you want to add some other rule, additional rules going forward, then only you have to come back here and you have to change it. Once it is done, my suggestion would be go ahead checking into Git, so that all other people who are working on the project, they can also get the file, and then whenever they are going to apply the SDD, SDD is going to follow these rules. In next episode, we are going to talk about the specification. Thank you so much.